Welcome back to IPA, where we keep it real and raw. I'm here with another special guest. I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Morgan Gold.
Morgan Gold.
Don't need that much more.
Yeah,
Don't
this
need that
is
much
true.
more.
So, let's start off. Who is Morgan Gold?
Well, Morgan Gold is me because I was born with that name. But Morgan Gold is a series of things. Like, I've been trying to answer that for the last 24 going on 25 years.
Damn, you're 24?
Yes.
Same, bro.
Hell
I
yeah.
thought you were a lot older.
When's your birthday?
I'm December 30th.
Beautiful.
Capricorn.
Okay, yeah, no, but both my parents are Capricorns.
Really?
It's probably why we get on well.
True.
I'm still trying to figure out who Morgan Gold is. I mean, Morgan Gold is a culmination of beauty, honesty, and humanity. I think those are the attributes that are carrying me right now.
Those are some distinct adjectives. Why do you identify yourself with those?
That's what I aspire to be. Beauty, because I try to see the beauty in everything that life has to offer, because otherwise what the fuck are we trying to live for?
Honestly.
Honesty, because life isn't always beautiful and you got to be honest with yourself in those moments. And what did I say? Beauty, honesty. What else did I say?
I forgot. Honestly, I forgot.
Beauty,
Honesty and... Anyways. What inspired you to pick up a guitar?
I'll probably think of it at the end of the interview. Jesus Christ.
All right, we'll circle back.
I'm sober, guys, by the way, so I don't know why my memory is as shit as it was. What inspired me to pick up the guitar? I listened to a lot of guitar players when I was growing up. Like, honestly, it was when I discovered Elvis and the Beatles that kind of inspired my drive to write songs. And I don't know, like, I really liked the way a guitar could complement songwriting, because it feels very organic when you're strumming along and you're trying to, like, figure everything out all at once.
It's almost as if, like, the music writes itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big believer too in really just channeling your life, channeling the moments that led up to the song, to just kind of flow out. And with a guitar next to you, it brings about a different kind of inspiration. It's very powerful. So just something clicked in me when I saw footage of, like, all of these old pop and rock and roll stars just with them and their guitar, and it just looked so cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say it's, like, a critical part of, like, the creative process for you at this stage in your career, or do you think it's still kind of like something you just like to pick up, like, here and there?
It's something that I like to pick up here and there, just because right now, like, I've got my toes in a lot of different pools. Like, I'm doing EDM, I'm tapping back into my acoustic songwriting. Me and Skylar are working on Morgan Gold album number 2. So there's a lot of different sounds, but I like that because I love music, and I believe that every part of it should be explored and should be learned to be appreciated, even if it's not my, sound.
Yeah, 100%.
Inspiration can come from anywhere, and I think closing yourself off to any potential inspiration is just kind of hindering your education a little bit. So these days I've been trying to stay as open as possible, go to a lot of different shows, appreciate music from a lot of different viewpoints. I just saw Grateful Dead's extension, Dead and Company, over the weekend, and it's not, their music's not only so powerful, but the fan base is 50 plus years strong.
It's kind of crazy.
Deadheads are insane, and they've been alive and feeding the phenomenon for so long. And even though it's not music that I tap into every day, it's music that's very important to me.
Yeah.
Just as hip hop is very important to me.
Yeah.
And I don't like to close myself on any potential good music that I could hear, no matter where it comes from.
That being said, how So, did you discover that you had like singing ability when you at a young age, or was it like something that you kind of came across as you got older? Like what was that experience like?
I think it was around 9 or 10 when I discovered that I could sing. I just, I mean, I always loved being the kid that liked to put on shows whenever we had guests over, just be the goofy little center of attention. And then, I don't know, I love to sing and I love to perform. And then once I started kind of hitting 9, 10, I would be singing to myself or singing in front of family, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, like you can sing," which was funny because nobody else in my family could. So it kind of came as a shock to people, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna run with that because it felt good. And like, I don't know, like just watching like the big idols that we look up to. I mean, like if you're looking at like blueprints for modern music, it's what Michael Jackson, the Beatles, like the big names. Making music on that level appealed to me from a very young age. I don't like saying that I want to be famous or that I wanted to be famous, but that was the truth. Yeah. I loved the idea of making music that literally could define a portion of humanity. That looked cool to me.
I like how you said that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what's so interesting about it for me. So that's, I think, why I started writing songs, because I wanted to get a sense of who I was and what I had to say.
So watching, as you've kind of saw your career come to fruition, do you still feel like you have that same 9-year-old inside of you that's like still attacking it from that same aspect, or do you feel like the perspective has changed now that you've grown into a different artist?
I don't think the perspective has changed, but I think it's matured. I still have the same creative spirit from when I was younger. Otherwise, I don't think I would be continuing it now, and I don't think I would be going even harder for my dreams now if I didn't have that little kid inside me just so excited to get up in the morning and make music and being able to talk to people. I love networking. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. And thank God that those attributes never left me.
Yeah.
Because I think those are what have carried me so far. But anytime every adult reaches that stage where you're like, holy shit, I gotta pay my bills, I gotta pay rent, like things aren't free.
Yes.
And so reality sets in, and that can definitely make it hard, but I have believed in this so much for such a long time that luckily I've been able to motivate myself in a way where it's like, okay, you want to make this happen? Fine. But I was just talking to my girl about this last night. I'm a very A to Z type thinker, where she's a very A to B to C to D to E. Growing up with my dreams still at the forefront of my motivation, I've had to be like, okay, you can want Z all you want, but money has to be made and small steps have to be taken. You've got to accomplish these small things and maybe go through these hardships or learn these lessons before you can get all the way over there.
Yeah.
Because unless you miraculously come into money, or you can't rely on miracles.
100%.
You can. My friend Tyler just told me last night. What was it like? It takes years to become an overnight success.
Literally. And I to that point, not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
To that point, I think a lot of people have a misconception about like what an industry plant is, and I think it's like it's a very shallow understanding of what it really takes to make it in the music industry. Because you could have all the resources, but you could still sound like shit on a microphone, So it's like, I think that people think when they see these, like, let's say it's like a teenager that blows up, they may have had other resources that the average like person doesn't have that's pursuing music, but there's still work that needs to be done in order to get to that level.
And the thing is that, and to any artist too who may be listening to that, and maybe worried about oversaturation or the fact that an artist has more resources or money than you. Like, if the art is shit, people will turn it off.
Yeah.
In due time. It may be pushed in your face. It may fit a trend for a bit, but if the art is shit, people are going to turn off. Even people who, I mean, like, look, there's art and music out there where sometimes I'll listen to it and I'll be like, who the fuck is listening to this shit? But there's art that's also, and I don't, you know, not to degrade any art, like, that's not what I try to do, but I mean, like, you know, let's just be real. There's a reason why there's art that's more impactful than others.
Yeah.
And that impact is not only just, you know, being an industry plant or having money. It's there's obviously a force behind it and a message behind it that's so strong and it's so unique that people can't help but resonate with it.
Yeah.
Sure, you know, it's going to be easier for millions of people to hear it when you fucking load in $1 million. But also, if you don't have money, you need consistency and you need resources. Resources are relationships. Get out there and meet people. You know what I mean?
It seems like that's been kind of a critical part of, like, your journey, is the fact that you don't shy away from meeting new people. You know, like, it doesn't seem like you ever have had an issue trying to put yourself out there and just, like, just talking to anybody, because you never know what could come from a conversation, you know? So, like, talk about that a little bit, because, like, I feel a lot of people that I've met just throughout me, like, because at a point in time I made music, but now that I'm kind of on the other side of it, I see that some people's Achilles heel is the fact that they can't make a genuine connection with somebody without expecting, like, something in return for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, the quicker you understand how transactional this industry is, then the more you look at it from a human perspective of everybody's trying to get somewhere. Technically, this is transactional because you asked me to interview you for your platform. And I'm like, cool, I need more exposure. But, like, the best transactions and the most valuable of transactions, usually there's, like, good, trustworthy people behind them.
Yeah.
So that I really try to keep that in mind because, I mean, we're all told from a very young age, no matter what, it's who you know in any kind of industry. And so why not look at that from a dope perspective of, cool, I get to go out and meet people and I get to connect with people. I mean, sometimes I'm an introvert, but most of the time I'm a social butterfly. Yeah. I love connecting with people. I love bringing out moments that people can remember and that people can enjoy, because that's what life is about. It's about forgetting about really evil shit that happens in the world, and it's meeting somebody really dope or having a drink with somebody, or, you know, that's why I'm very bold when I interact with people. Like, I'm very bold. I say exactly what I want, and, you know, when I did theater, there was a great thing that my director would say during auditions, and it was, we can always pull you back if you're giving us a little too much, but it's a lot harder to, like, bring the enthusiasm out of somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very, and so
it's kind of like an effort thing.
It is an effort thing. So I would rather be told, hey, maybe you're being a little too much, or maybe, like, you don't need to say that thing. It's a little too early for that. I've been bold as shit in some of the people that I've talked to. Why? I need you to know exactly what I'm about. I don't give a fuck if you know what my intentions are. Yeah. Why does it need to be a game of, oh, we need to wine and dine and have a drink before we talk?
Yeah.
Nah, motherfucker, I'm trying to do business. I'm trying to do business with you in a few years.
Let's get this shit on the road.
Let's go get a drink. I'm gonna let you know now that I am I'm fun, and oh my god, like, we've only got one life to live. I'm not trying to play games with, especially because this is a transactional business, and we're all looking to get, like, really far. A lot of, you know, all the people that I'm working with right now are from the independent scene, and so we're making moves for ourselves. If we're making moves for ourselves, we need to be even more aware of what our intentions are, whether we're friends or not. You know what I mean? And especially if we're going to be friends in this industry, I need to know what your biggest dreams are. Because at that point then there's a mutual understanding that we are going to believe in each other and that we are going to support each other and we can encourage each other and we can just have each other's backs. So it does, like,
this is very true.
And that is that attitude, you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but that attitude is exactly how I've gotten all these relationships with these artists, with these platforms, with these venues. I'm booking people now. Why? Because I had the balls to walk into the venue and all I had to do was be like, hey, who books here?
Yeah.
It's that fucking simple. Like, people...
A lot of times,
like, it is. Like, and I'm not saying that this industry is not easy. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm still grateful for the journey, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But people think that most of the time when people say it's very hard to make connections, it's because you don't have the balls to go up and shake somebody's hand.
Yeah.
Just shake their hand.
Yeah.
This
is true.
You know what I mean?
And I could tell, like, like one of the, like, the passion that you have exudes throughout the music. So I think that would be this is a good opportunity for you to talk about routine, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, tell me about just the creative direction that you approached it with and how did it come to life? Because like the choreographing part was fucking fire, bro. That shit, like, and I think that's what music is missing now is the fact that people aren't taking the videos serious. Like, bro, I don't want to see you out in a video at a gas station with a bunch of dudes and cars and guns. Like, bro, how many times am I gonna see this fucking carbon copy of the exact same shit?
But and before I go into routine, one thing I will say is that to somebody who's new at content and to somebody who just wants to put out quick content, that's easy. It's very easy to pull up to a gas station, pull up in front of a neon sign and just shoot some shit, because at the end of the day, if you are trying to be consistent with videos and like that's your thing, do that. But you make a good point. It's a carbon copy of a lot of what's out there. And even if the music's good, you're competing with a lot of those gas station videos. You're competing with a lot of you're competing with a lot of people behind the mic in their studio on TikTok being like, I recorded an open verse to this. Cool. But like, what's the story that sets you apart? I always like to think of it in terms of character. So routine, I didn't even know what it was going to be until we made it. We made that song right as we were wrapping up the last album, Midas. And we made it. It was a really cool vibe, and I ended up re-recording it later, but it was one of those songs where you make it and you know that's what the next era is going to sound like. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, because we were like, oh, we're going to put this on the album? No, that goes on the next album. So I automatically had next album in my head. And I always, and it was just such a cool vibe. I didn't want to have it be a Lucy, but so we made Routine, and, Midas came out. We were getting off the hype for that, but then we were just immediately making the next album.
Right back in it.
Right back in it. Midas was so... I mean, Midas wasn't light, but I will say in comparison to what the vibes of Routine were, I could tell we were starting to go more dark with the themes. We were starting to go more experimental, and the sound was just getting fuller. The mixing was getting better. And when it came time to... we probably had every single demo, I think, like, lined up, like, top of the year. And I knew that Routine should be the first single because it's definitely the most R&B song on there.
Yeah.
And I think right now, with the musical direction that I'm heading, I wanted the first single to be R&B focused, because I think in terms of where my vocals sit, R&B is kind of the root genre that I'm very comfortable with. R&B was kind of the genre that made me want to be an artist, was R&B. And so I think to get people, like we were talking about before this interview, different but familiar. I thought, because there's a lot of different sound. I mean, there's There's a clubby song on this. There's a couple of pop records. There's a couple of really dark records on the album. But Routine, because first of all, who doesn't love a good R&B sex song? Everybody's got a soft spot. Hey, even if you don't got a soft spot for sexy songs, if you're trying to get intimate with somebody, you're probably gonna put on that kind of song. And so I just thought this is absolutely perfect. It's dirty. It's it's definitely like. It's definitely more bold than my other songs, because I've done songs about sex before, but I really wanted people to know that I'm not messing around. Like, I'm here to seduce, and I'm a great fucking singer, and you get all of that. You get all of that on the record, because there's the production is beautiful, but then you get kind of the whispery. I get a little bit more like melodic, and then all of a sudden I get to belt. So I got to show people.
Your range.
I got to show people my range in one song, and that was also important. And under a 3-minute song, by the way.
That's fire.
So we had the single, and Jason Kaplan, who he went to Columbia, he did a video of mine last year, but then he's like, I want to do another one. So we're like, bam, I got this song. I wanted to turn it into a movie. And the creative director, Baca, who is, if you're looking at the video from like this way, she's the dancer on the left, and then Deadshot is on the right. But so Baca, she and I have been friends for a little bit. She's a creative director, brilliant choreographer, brilliant dancer. I told her, I'm like, I need you to do like choreography for one of my songs. And I sent her a few. She's like, I want that one. I'm like, perfect. And that's like, I knew then. That's the first single. This is the video that we're doing. We really only prepped for about like a month, maybe a month and a half. She had the play-by-play, scene-by-scene. Jason went with it. We shot it at Epiphany Center of the Arts. You ever been there?
No.
It's a renovated church turned venue in right outside the West Loop, but it's gorgeous.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then we shot at the Sanctuary, which I think is like anywhere between 150 to 200 cap. I've done some shows there, but we rented that out, and it's beautiful because it already kind of looks like churchy old school. But I wanted the vibe of cabaret. Like I immediately had in my head, because a lot of what the album is about, and a lot of what my music is about, is coping with the fact that wanting to be famous can kind of do a number on your psyche and the way that you view the world and the pressure that you put on yourself. It's been a running theme in my music. And so for Routine, I wanted to kind of create this character of a cabaret host that's just pure macho, confident, suave, just all of the things that I think any person who wants that kind of attention would aspire to be.
Yeah.
Gets the girl, sexy voice, running the show. Like, so I was like, that's got to be the, if we're going to have a sexy song, it's got to be led by a character who really is desperate to get that kind of reaction. You don't see a lot of desperation in the video, which is good, but what you do see is somebody who is very determined to, like, get a girl's attention. Yeah, I'm making this happen by skill or by will. Like the entire time I was looking right at her, and of course, like in the video it worked, but what you'll kind of see as we go is that, okay, like there's all of this confidence, but first of all, did that even happen? Did that video even happen? That's something I kind of want to leave up to the audience. Is that host as confident as she looks, or is there a really just sad and deep desire to be seen, not just by a love interest, but by the world?
See what you mean.
Yeah, so the album's about trying to deal with that desire. Yeah.
Damn. That's very interesting. I mean, truth be told, so I had asked this in the first interview. I'll let the people know. This is a reshoot. We had done this before, and now we're going back to revisit it. But I do want to ask, since you're speaking about the new album, talk about Unit B, bro. Talk about the first coming of you coming out to the world as Morgan Gold and presenting yourself and your music and letting people critique you, you know, because I think that's a huge part of music that people don't really see, is the fact that you're exposing yourself to possible critique, you know. So talk about what Unit B meant and what it was to you at that time versus what the new project is going to be.
I'm not the best songwriter in the world, but Unit B itself was a critique to all the shit that I had been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like, I was listening to a lot of music, and the thing is, and I say that because I wanted to do music for a really long time, but I was just not ready to put it out there. Even though I had already been a performer, I was a comedy major, so I was very used to the worst kind of critique you could get from being on stage, which is, bitch, you're not funny. That is a lot more degrading than being like, oh, your music sucks. So I was like, well, if I could do that, I could do anything. If you can deal with having a really bad improv set at a bar, then like you can do just about anything. So I was like, I'd still kept up with writing songs. I was like 18 or 19 in college, and I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, I've just got to do it because I'm so sick of seeing other people have more confidence than me putting out their art, and it's art that I thought was just lackluster. I was like, this could just be better.
Yeah.
And so it was coming from a spiteful kind of egotistical standpoint, but I'm glad that it was, because it forced me to lock myself in my room and not only tap into something that I really liked, but I was like, I want to be able to write songs like my heroes, and be able to, I just wanted to write some poetry that could make people think, but they can also kind of like, tap their toe too.
Yeah.
So I had, just about the most basic setup you could. I had like a $50 desktop USB mic, and then my MacBook and GarageBand, and I made all the beats. I had a little, like, the basic Akai MIDI keyboard that's like $100. I got one of those. And then I recorded Unit B in my closet, where I had the dresser in the middle of it, and then the clothes that were on either side acted as like suppressing the sound.
Yeah.
And then I just had my like fucking Apple earbuds recorded like that.
Damn.
I skipped so many classes, like almost failed out of one of my classes just so I could stay home, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, I want to put out a project now.
Yeah.
And at the time, and the reason also too why I got a lot of motivation was because I made a post on my Finsta account. I had a Finsta.
I still have mine.
And I hope it's not out there. I hope nobody goes looking for it. It's not, there are worse Finstas out there. But I had put on there, kind of as a joke, that I was going to start dropping music. And then one of my friends at the time saw it, and she was majoring in music business. And she's like, literally for a semester project, I have to manage somebody. Mm-hmm. Do you want to be managed for a semester? So
crazy,
I was like, yeah, let's go. So like I got the experience of having deadlines, distributing my music, getting gigs. Mm-hmm. Like, she booked me open mics where I was just, and I wasn't even doing the production. I was just bringing my guitar and like.
So you really just jumped in the water. Like, it wasn't even like a trial and error period. It was just like.
I mean, there was a lot of trial and error in it, but like I knew that if I didn't jump in it at that age, then I would have regretted every single second I had spent wasting it. Damn. I've been saying for way too long, I should do music. I should be writing more music. I should be a singer. I should drop music. And I just been, for some stupid reason, saying no. And I had to jump right in, bro. I had no choice. Spiritually, I had no choice.
Damn. So, like, how impactful has Jamie been to, like, your production of your music? Because I feel she's the only, like, just based off of like our other conversations, she's the only person that could probably give you genuine critique that you are like, okay, you probably have a point there.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, like, I, from the very beginning, too, had always believed that the only way an artist is truly going to grow is if you lock in with somebody that understands your sound.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing that, because she did not start off as my producer, engineer. She was just my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And then from watching sessions with my former engineer, Jay Kaga, she got really inspired and started making beats. And she actually was DJing as a hobby at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So she ended up getting Studio One, which is an amazing DAW, by the way, and it's still slept on. But we just kind of started doing our thing there. She had just gotten laid off from her job, so she's like, you know what? Recording sounds fun. She actually got a degree, too, in sound engineering as well, and just jumped in the water with me as well. And then we were kind of just, I was in a point where I was trying to rediscover who I was, rediscover what kind of artist I could be, but I, I like to think that my sound is like a product of like the R&B pop ethereal soundscapes of The Weeknd, 070 Shake, those guys.
Yeah.
So I still had that to me, but we were luckily, like, we were coming from a energy of, this is all we're doing right now. We live with the music, we breathe it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And having somebody like that to grow with is crucial to making the music honest. So she knows where I'm coming from, but she's also got such a strong sense of self as a producer and as an engineer, because she knows what she likes, she knows what appeals to her, and she's a very, very, like, deep admirer of music.
Yeah.
So, which is also very important, because there's also there's some people out there who will just, do a couple of loops and then, like, that's
whatever.
it.
Yeah,
that's it. But, like, we really try to think about the impact that the music's going to have. The way that we communicate is, it's not only crucial for a producer and music, and producer and musician relationship, but it's just crucial for our relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we learn how to work with each other as people rather than just coworkers. And I think that's really important, because we're really able to talk honestly about how we're feeling, about even how we're feeling that day. If, like, oh, I don't want to mix this day, oh, I don't want to record this day. Like, it's harder, because putting that kind of pressure on your romantic partner kind of adds a little bit extra weight to the relationship, but it makes it that much more important that we're bringing out the best of each other.
Yeah.
And we're doing it healthily, and we're doing it honestly.
At your own speed.
Yes, and I think that's why the music has been so impactful too, is because we really care about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Man. That's dope. And, like, I think that in itself is like a great achievement of not only your music career, but just like your guys' relationship and in your life, to have somebody that it's like, we're locked in on so many different facets of what we do, that it's like, that reassurance makes you feel that you can accomplish anything.
And just knowing that, like, we really are a team in this, and watching the music get more and more successful just makes me look at everything we've done together and be like, wow, like, we did that as a unit.
That's fucking amazing, dude. So that being said, like, outside of the relationship that you've built with Jamie, like, what do you think would be like one of the most meaningful, like, achievements that you've had throughout, like, this journey in music?
I mean, there's a lot in terms of just, like, and it's not even about the numbers. It's just about the confidence that I've allowed myself to blossom into, getting older and just having more of a sense of self. I think I think my biggest accomplishment is learning that even if you're by yourself or you have a team or you don't have a team, it's really like it's a collective effort. And what I mean by that is the relationships that you have with people, the positive energy that you put out into wherever you are, so that way other people can gravitate towards it and use it for their endeavors. And just learning that the more love you put into what you do, then the more you're gonna get out of it. I think that's been the most rewarding part of everything, because it just keeps me going, and it doesn't have me in that worried state of, oh, this isn't gonna be good enough. Oh, like I'm not gonna get as many views as I wanted. Well, if I'm worrying about something, then nothing's gonna get done.
Facts.
Even even if a show undersells or a song underperforms in terms of views, like I don't fucking care. I'm doing something.
You're still moving the needle.
Yeah, like keeping the motion, I think, has just been the thing I'm most proud of, because I don't ever want to stop, and I was scared to start. In the first place. So just keeping the journey going is the thing I'm most proud of.
Just staying in the fight.
Yes.
Yeah. So with this wrapping up, to anybody, because I feel like you've definitely like laid some gems in this for sure. But to anybody who's getting ready to set out on their adventure into music, what would your best advice to them be?
Two things. Be fearless, but be kind. They work hand in hand. You can't be afraid to fail. In fact, when you fail, you need to let it teach you what it needs to teach you. You can't have any fear. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the art if this is what you're really setting out to do. And the more you believe in yourself, the more you believe in yourself, the more you will discover yourself, too. Because there's things that you need to learn about yourself, too, but you can't be afraid to learn them. And on the other side of that coin, you got to be kind. You can't be a dick. I don't care how good you think you are. I don't care how entitled you think you may be to 1 million views on YouTube, to a sold-out show. Things don't always work your way, and you are not the only person that is in this industry trying to make something happen for themselves. And even if your music or your presence or your impact is so great, the most memorable impact that you will have is how you made people feel. And if you weren't kind while maybe putting out like the best song ever or starting up the best record label company, well, guess fucking what? That shit's gonna come back to bite you in the ass.
Facts.
Being a dick. So be fearless and be kind.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to tell the people?
If you like that Morgan Gold music, follow me at Morgan Gold Music. Follow the journey.
Hey,
yeah.
You guys heard it here first.